Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that very warm welcome. And it's so great to get this Canadian Council started today. I hope my voice lasts, because after 13 industry councils yesterday, I only got a little bit left. But what a day it was. And my God, this room, the energy, the vibe, what a force you all are. What a force. And I'm so proud of every single one of you. What a year we have had. What a year you have had. First, I want to give a huge shout out to Danny and his membership at Local 62 for your wonderful hospitality at the Intercontinental Hotel this week. Yes, apparently the new owners needed to understand what Unifor was all about, and we were more than happy to show them. And for those of you staying right now at the Sheraton Centre, you may have noticed our Local 2609 members are wearing very big Unifor buttons. That's because they're currently in bargaining, so let's make sure they feel some Unifor solidarity this week from all of us. So, I'm really thrilled to see all of you from every region, from every sector, from every part of this incredible union. Thank you for the love and the solidarity already this week. You make this union the kind of union we all know is possible. Militant and bold and democratic and, yes, kick ass. Given how much has happened since the last council, I know we're going to spend a wonderful 3 days together, because we have a lot to share, victories and struggles, and the best solidarity around. I want to start by recognizing the members of Unifor's elected team, who, like all of you, work with me to build this great union every single day. Len and Daniel and Jen and Samia and Gavin, an all-star team who lead with their hearts and their love for this union. I'm also so lucky and privileged to get to work with all of them on your behalf. And to your National Executive Board, who keep it real, who never waver from standing up for all of you, I want to thank them for their leadership and their guidance and for their commitment to this union. Of course, it takes all of us to help deliver on the objectives. As the elected leadership, we have a mighty team of senior staff who oversee many files and many departments in the union. And I want to thank them, because it's been a year and they have been doing a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of it for you. Roxanne and Sari and Olivier and Shane and Bruce and Dan and Kellyanne and Tim and Miriam and John and Katha and Nikki and Anthony. Thank you all very, very much. And to the staff of our union, you have outdone yourselves this year. I see you bringing your A game every day and working so hard with our locals and bargaining committees all across this union, negotiating double-digit wage increases in a single year. The first pension improvements in 15 years or longer, supporting our members taking strike action, taking advantage of the moment we are in right now, and delivering outstanding contracts for our members. Thank you to each and every one of you. To the staff across our union's departments, thank you for always bringing your immense skills and talents to the service of our members. And local unions, all of you. My God, you are doing some incredible work out there. I see you. I see you every day. I see the work, the union building, the challenging times, and your leadership. I see how you are raising the bar for our members and for workers everywhere, setting new standards at work, mobilizing our members, and understanding this very big moment and opportunity that we have. I don't know what you're all going to do for a second act, But please remember to take the time to celebrate the victories you are racking up, because every single one of those victories builds to the next. That's how important the work you're doing is. For those of you who are here, presidents, executive members, equity and standing committee members and reps, stewards, activists, and our amazing retirees, a big shout out to all of you, know that you are all connected here in this room. The work you do, the challenges you face are not yours alone. They are all of ours, all of ours. And strong local unions mean a strong union. It's as simple as that. So thank you for your phenomenal work this year. Thank you for being this union. Now, we've had our share of work, and you've heard me say this before a lot of times. Our union is having a moment out there. And I knew when we brought grocery store local leaders together at our national office ahead of our big bargaining year that something special was going to happen. I knew it. I could see it in the determination in their faces. I knew it because I also understood if we were going to be the union we all aspired to be, retail workers deserved for us to step up in a profound way. And I'm telling you now that a strike by 3,700 Metro grocery store workers in the Greater Toronto area and the subsequent pattern bargaining that followed changed everything. It changed lives. It changed our union. It inspired an entire labor movement. And by the time the strike was settled, the courage of these workers had propelled Unifor into a new place. Make no mistake about it. This was a major defining moment for our union. When grocery store workers, most of whom are women, looked at their bosses straight in the eye across that bargaining table and said, "No more. No more. We are worth more, and we are going to fight for it." And make no mistake, what this union did in the retail sector in the past year showed every single employer that we deal with that this union fights for everyone. This union fights for everyone. And yes, when we fight, we win. And I'm proud. I'm proud of these workers, every single one of them, who stood up and believed that we could actually do this together. Not long after we closed the Sobeys deal in Cape Breton, Greg, the local president, sent me a note, and I want to share it with you because his words are important, because this is our union, friends. He said, "Unifor Local 1971 would foremost like to thank all of you for your work in supporting retail workers in Canada. It's hard for me to find the right words without the tears running down my face. After 40 years of being a union member, I'm so proud of the way that we support our locals, our communities, and our people. We have the best damn union in this country." Yes, Greg, we do. What a time to fight for working people. When I say we're having a moment, this is what I mean. On Monday morning, a unit of 130 workers at Stablex in Quebec went on strike. They became the 97th strike in our union in 2 years. 97. More than 20,000 Unifor members on picket lines in 2 years. That's a militant union. That's how working people fight back. And by the way, we may hit number 100 if the strike authorizations are anything to go by before this council is even over. We started the week with 4 strikes. 2 have been settled, including one at Local 303, where the members went on strike for retiree benefits. And yes, they got them. Friends, the dispute at Best Theratronics in Ottawa. I want to talk about this. I'm not going to steal the committee's thunder because you're going to hear from them later this morning. And they're going to tell us about what's been happening in this strike. But I want to tell you what I told the federal labor minister. We don't give up on workers in this union, no matter the size of the bargaining unit, no matter how small or how big. They will have the support, and I mean the full support, of this union as long as they need it. And when employers like this one break the law, we expect that the Minister of Labor needs to act, and act now. Brother Steve and Local 1541, I want you to know something about what you're doing right now for this union. You are defending this entire union on that picket line, and we're going to be here with you until you get a fair collective agreement. They have been courageous. They have been courageous. You have to be on a picket line. And I want to thank all the locals, many of them in this room, who've supported 1541. And to the Ottawa staff, who've been simply outstanding, and many of our staff who've gone in and spent weekends with our members on that picket line. Thank you to every single one of you. That is the kind of union that we have. So yes, the sheer number of strikes has been unprecedented. Workers are having a moment all across this country. Workers are having a moment because we are building confidence and supporting them to win better working conditions, better living standards, equality at work, all of it. This is our job as a union, to build worker power, to build worker power. You know, every week in this union, I get to speak to politicians and employers on your behalf. And my message is always the same. It is about our expectations of them and how workers should be treated and respected in this country. I remind them that nothing moves without us. St. Lawrence Seaway, nothing moves without us. Care doesn't happen without us. Nothing gets built in this country without us. And no profits are earned without us, not a single penny. And if they have seen one thing in the past 2 years, it is that we are organizing in this union so we can take on all the big fights. And there have been some big ones. And I know there are going to be more, because we confront power, and we're not going to stop. We are not going to stop. We didn't stop when CN threw everything at us during Autoport this year. Scabs, court injunctions, more scabs, more court injunctions in places where we hadn't even had a picket line, all across the country. And you know what we did? We responded, bigger and stronger. Yes, Jen Murray, bigger and stronger. Because in this union, when you come for one of us, what is it, Samia? You face all of us. That is what happens. Wherever we need to be, the members of this union support each other. When I say we're having a moment, here's what I mean. A few weeks ago, more than 800 workers in a Walmart distribution center, a warehouse, voted in favor of joining our union. This week, we were certified by the Ontario Labour Relations Board, despite a most aggressive anti-union campaign by one of the planet's most anti-union employers. These workers said, "Not this time. No more. We are standing up for ourselves here." And this week, wait for it, the day after we were certified, Walmart handed out $94 million in pay raises to their Canadian employees. We haven't even sat down to a bargaining table yet, and the employer is ponying up. So get ready, folks, because this one's going to be epic. We're not there yet. And I know you're ready, Local 252, to take this on, because these workers deserve the very best that we can offer. We know that warehouse workers hold the logistics and supply chains of this country together, and they deserve a lot. They deserve better conditions. They deserve a safe and healthy workplace. They deserve a fair share of the profits that their bosses are making off their backs. My friends, they deserve a union, and we're proud, so very proud to welcome them to our Unifor family. Yes, and they're here. We have 2 Walmart workers here this week. Stand up. Marty, I believe you're here. Roll the Flow, are you here? Yes. Woo! Thank you for giving them that welcome, because they have made history in this country. And now they have inspired Walmart workers in a lot of other places by their determination and courage, who are reaching out to our union to sign union cards. Talk about slaying a dragon. A dragon. And Walmart workers are not the only ones. Over the last 2 years, thousands of workers have chosen Unifor. 4 of the 6 largest organizing successes in the union have happened in the last 2 years. Workers from every sector of the economy, aviation, healthcare, auto parts, manufacturing, hospitality, warehousing, energy, including our friends from SPIA who are with us today. We have an outstanding organizing team under the direction of Justin, and let me tell you, we want them to keep going. We want them to keep going. So we're going to be adding resources to the organizing department, so stay tuned for that. More workers need a union in this country. But let's consider for a second some of the reasons that led to this. We went through a pandemic, and a lot of companies made out like bandits. A lot of them. Highest profits in their histories, because they took advantage of the moment to raise prices and pad their bottom lines. And then workers responded. They responded by joining unions. They responded by fighting to make up for lost ground. They responded by striking. The key here is workers are not only responding, but fighting for their share. This union decided we would build the confidence of our members, that we would not allow grocery barons or auto companies or energy corporations or anywhere else to get away with the same old, same old. We were going to seize on the moment that we saw for workers, because it was our time and we were going to take it. We moved out of grocery store bargaining and into auto bargaining. And boy, did these committees deliver. Boy, did they deliver for thousands of workers. Thousands. So yes, we shut down auto plants for the first time, in some cases, in 40 years. Yeah, sometimes you have to do what you got to do. Right, brothers and sisters? That's right. And did I mention almost 100 strikes? Oh Lord, the team is busy. Have you ever seen a moment like this? Have you ever seen a moment like this? So yes, together, all of us, we have won big for our members. Historical contracts, wage increases, pension improvements, COLA, women's advocates, racial justice advocates, mental health language and supports, gains like we have not seen in a very long time. It's a great time to fight for workers right now. You know, it's not great everywhere, not even in the toughest of sectors, and we've got a few. And yet, we continue to push hard. Our locals are pushing hard. I can't promise that the moment that we're in right now will last, but I did promise that we would be there, leading our members, flexing our union muscle, and using the power we had when we had it. And so we're going to just keep doing this because apparently it's working. Let's go. Let's go, yes. And we didn't only strike. This year we won, as you've already heard, this country's first anti-scab legislation at the federal level. And our union led that charge. And yeah, with it, power has shifted a little. And yes, the federal sector bosses are pretty mad right now. We all know how scabs undermine our right to strike, how they undermine working class power. The bosses know it too. It's why now they are organizing to come after our right to strike. Yes. So know this, friends. We always have to take this into consideration and be prepared. When we make gains, there's always a backlash afterwards. When we exercise our rights, this is the exact time that those rights get threatened. It is true in history, and it is true right now. That means we have to be prepared to defend the win and defend our union rights with everything we have. That's why, yes. That's why my first president's recommendation will be on defending the right to strike. Because it doesn't matter what gains we make. If we do not use our rights and flex our muscle, it's all at risk. The gains we can make can vanish from one day to another, from one government to another, from one dispute to another. Some employers argue that strikes, or workers' rights, are an impediment to Canada's economic security. I have so much to say about this right now, some of it not for delicate ears. In a global economy affected by conflict and war, climate, automation, AI, misinformation, these employers want us to believe that a few disputes, a short-term disruption in their production within the confines of carefully constructed labor law is what will throw the economy into disarray. Understand, friends, what they are really saying here. What they are really saying. They think that their ability to make profit should take precedence over our rights as workers. That's what they're saying. Now apply that to some other things, like health and safety and retirement security. Apply it to our right to belong to a union, to fair and free collective bargaining. So yes, in the last 2 years, we have exercised our right to strike. In the next 2 years, we will have to defend it at all costs. That is what's coming at us. So we're going to need all of you to work with us to make sure that doesn't happen. We need one message coming from this council and one message coming from this union. You go after our rights at your peril. At your peril. Because remember, we have laws in this country. We have rules that govern labor relations. And if employers want to throw those rules out, we get to throw them out too. We get to throw them out too. So, I hope you're listening, Bell Canada. I hope you're listening, railway companies. I hope you're listening, Air Canada. Because most people who know me also know I don't make idle threats. What's the point? I don't bluff. I just calmly state our intentions. As John Dagnolo tells me, I sometimes get this look on my face. But I don't bluff. So if you want to test us, if you want to test this union, if you want to see what we are made of, whether it's CP or CN or any of you right now, if you need another lesson after Autoport, just let us know. Because we're ready. We're ready. You know, when corporations refuse to take into account this new global reality that we have and that we're facing, it's not only our rights that are at stake, it's our ability as a country to compete and to create good union jobs. You've heard me talk about this a lot, industrial strategy. I know it sounds like something out of a textbook, Angelo. But it's a lot more than that. This is not your dad's world economy anymore, where globalization was heralded as the panacea. That world is over, folks. We have a new global economy now, where countries who build industrial strategies, who attract investment, whose governments invest, who harness the skills of their populations and who plan their economies, are winning. And those who don't are getting left behind. As workers, we have always known that this idea of the market deciding things was bogus, anti-worker. But now it's not just us saying it. When corporations in the auto industry, the steel and aluminum industry, and so many others are talking about, all of a sudden, fair trade instead of free trade, they want a level playing field, we know that the world has shifted. So yes, friends, we have a moment here too, an opportunity to fight for the kind of economic vision that works for workers in this country. Canada needs many things to support itself as a nation. We need public transit. We need a stronger and bigger electricity grid. We need energy. We need modern telecommunications infrastructure and internet services. We need cars and planes and buses and trains and ships. We need all of these things because we live and work here. We support each other. We need public health care and education and so much more because every industrial strategy needs to be supported with strong public services. And our union is fighting for that kind of country, where we build it here. For a nation where we build all the big things, where we plan for the economy of the future by building it today, and where we stand up to economic giants like China, who are not competing on a level playing field. It's why we've demanded that the Canadian government protect good Canadian jobs from the industrial overcapacity China has amassed right now, from China's use of forced labor in some parts of their economy. And we need governments who understand this, who understand this new global order, who know and will not throw tax cuts at corporations and expect to get it right, but who will instead plan to build it here, invest it here, use our government dollars to build it here at home. It's simple, but it's still a fight. So when you hear the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, talk about building it at home, I want you to do something for me. Ask him if he means this by it. Ask him if he means building cars in Canada and investing in that. See what he says. Ask him if he means building ships at our Halifax shipyard and investing in that. Ask him if he means building electric buses here in Quebec and in Winnipeg and Manitoba, and what he means by that, and if he will invest in that. Ask him if he means building subway cars in Thunder Bay. Ask him if he means strong collective bargaining laws for workers. Ask him if he means forcing energy corporations to deal with methane gas leaks by hiring more skilled energy workers and maintaining that infrastructure across this country. Ask him if he means investing in telecommunications jobs here at home. Ask him. Ask him if he supports the forest workers and their communities, and what he will actually do to make that support meaningful. Ask him these questions, because if he doesn't have the right answer, he does not deserve to govern this country. He does not deserve to govern this country. He does not understand how to build an economy that works for working people. The auto sector has seen a renewal of investments, new builds, new products. Many union workers are benefiting from a sector that not too long ago was on a steady decline, but not anymore. And when Ford Motor Company delayed EV plans at its Oakville plant, Shane and myself and the team go to Dearborn, Michigan. You know you're having a problem when you get invited to Dearborn, Michigan by Ford Motor Company. This is their town. And we got not great news that day. And we said, hang on here. We will not stand by as a union. We will not stand by while that plant in Oakville sits idle. We need a new plan. We need a new plan for our members. So don't think for 1 second we're going to just take this decision lightly and go home. We expect a different outcome. Our members deserve a different outcome. And we made sure that Ford Motor Company delivered by negotiating a different outcome for our members. Yeah. So it's possible to shape a sector. It's possible to put Canadians to work in good union jobs, building the economy of the future, and that's exactly what we're going to be fighting for. My second President's recommendation to you is about exactly this, ensuring that future generations benefit from the economy we build today. It's about deciding, friends, our own future, not letting others decide it for us. It's about building an industrial base that can sustain good jobs, support services, support communities. Public health care for all, let's go. Education for everyone, let's go. Childcare that is affordable and available, let's go. It's all possible when we fight for it. I want to give a shout out to Unifor's healthcare members right now who have been doing, yes, where are you all? All over the place in this room. Who have been doing great things at hospital bargaining tables in Ontario and Nova Scotia, great things to support their coworkers, to fight for public health care. And now we're going to move into long-term care and retirement home bargaining. And mark my words, no pressure, Kellyanne and Kelly, but these workers deserve economic justice too. They do. They have been through the ringer. And we're going to need all of you to be fighting with us for them. So let's go. Look, it's tough out there. It's tough everywhere. Our media members are fighting for their survival, their very survival, the survival of local news, the survival of fact-based journalism, Canadian content. They are fighting disinformation every day and fighting for truth to prevail. Because this is what we all need to know. Truth is in danger right now. And given the crises that we see all over the world, this will be a danger to our health, our safety, and our very lives. It's that serious. In the telecommunications sector, we continue to face one of Canada's biggest corporations whose CEO seems intent on running this once mighty corporation into the ground. Anything to keep those shareholder dividends up and his paycheck padded. Yeah. But, Belle, you need to understand, your temper tantrums aimed at the CRTC, that ain't getting us anywhere. What we need in this company is serious leadership. Someone who is going to build the company up, not tear it down. Someone who understands that it is the workers who make those profits for you. And believe me, I understand our members' frustrations. You are more than entitled to them. You are more than entitled to them. And what I see, it's coming. There will be a day of reckoning, and we will build for it, sisters and brothers and friends. We will build for it together. Now, in the forestry sector, our members have been devastated with mill closures and so many other issues, including a portion of Stéphane's mill in Quebec. Wildfires continue to devour our forests and devastate communities like we saw in Jasper this year. Gavin, Guy, and I were in Hinton this summer, not far from the wildfire. And friends, it was surreal. The sky was full of smoke, there was no daylight, and it was raining ash. We have a lot of challenges out there. But I know this one thing, that when we come together as a union, when we work together, when we present a different vision of the world and we're willing to fight for that vision, we can win. We can win. So yes, we're in challenging times. Staggering corporate profit, growing inequality, crushing monetary policy from the Bank of Canada, hasn't got a clue what they're doing, a climate crisis, and a lot of anger everywhere. The country, many days, feels fragile. The world feels fragile. And I know there's probably many days when you think a better world seems very far away. Some days, it feels like nothing we do will bring healing. But we find ways, including through our global union structures, to fight for democracy and hope and peace. Many of you probably have had the joy and stress of dealing with the back-to-work rush these past few weeks. But you know, in places like Gaza, there are no more schools to go back to. So let's think about what's happening in the Middle East right now, of Sudan, of Ukraine, and know that workers bear the brunt of all wars, workers and their children. As trade unionists, we can't look away. We must understand that we are united with workers in parts of the world right now who are impacted by war and conflict and occupation. Yes, some days it seems like building this better world is impossible and that the odds are against us. On those days, I want you to remember and imagine that we can achieve what we can do when we come together in solidarity, when we put love and understanding and compassion and the heart of everything we do, when we see each other's humanity. because it's these very moments of great challenge when transformation can actually happen, when real change can be built. And we take hope. Hope in the fact that a Black woman, a woman of color, a progressive, is on her way to becoming President of the United States of America. Because, friends, when it comes even to our own politics here in Canada, we're not out of the woods. We don't have it so great when it comes to politics many days. Every day I speak to a lot of these politicians, as I've said, on your behalf, whether it's about a closure, a dispute, a decision that may impact our members in one part of the country or the other. My job is to use the access and influence that I get because of all of you to fight for all of you. My third recommendation for you is about recommending and recommitting to Unifor's political project of building a unique kind of political involvement that moves all workers forward. I know there are many of you activists in this room who see political action as your best and most effective place in the union. Thank you for pounding the pavement and engaging Unifor members about politics. We are workers. Political decisions affect us. We don't have the luxury of sitting on the sidelines while governments decide our future and our lives. If we want to truly change the conditions of work so that we can change the conditions of the world, this means we can't leave politics alone. We can't. We are lucky enough to spend this weekend together leading up to Truth and Reconciliation Day. Many of you remember just a few years ago when this day was declared a national holiday. You don't see it as a day off. We don't see it as a day off. We see it as a day where each and every one of us has a responsibility to learn, to listen, and to reflect on Canada's colonial past, on the devastating impacts the policies of this country we all live in had on the lives of Indigenous peoples, on children, on parents, on communities. Just over a week ago, I joined Gina Smoke in Winnipeg to see the Drag the Red project that our union has supported and will continue to support. I want you to know this experience changed me. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about the Indigenous women who volunteer and run the project and who operate the vessel that goes up and down the Red River searching for signs of murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls, dragging the river's bottom every day they are able, every day. These women call it heart work, but there are absolutely no words to describe dragging along the bottom of that river and knowing the hooks caught onto something. There are no words to describe how fast your heart is beating when you pull that rope and those hooks up over the back of the boat. There are no words to describe the many feelings coursing through your body. But there are words to describe these women who give so much of themselves. They are generous and kind, and they want us all to understand the trauma caused by colonialism, and they're willing to relive their trauma so that we can. They lead with incredible empathy and patience. They are the women and young people who will deliver justice to Indigenous women and girls. And we can help, we can support, we can assist, and we're going to do all of that. My fourth President's recommendation to you delegates is about recognizing that this work has really only just begun. Reconciliation will be with us our entire lives. Let's not forget the work we have left to do, because there will be a lot of it. Friends, this year has been a special one, filled with many, many wonderful building union moments, wonderful Unifor moments. This union is changing lives. You are changing lives. Like the sister from GM Oshawa, Jason Gale's plant, who wrote me after we ratified those great contracts across the auto sector to thank her bargaining committee. She would be seeing a 50% pay raise in 3 years. Can you imagine? 50% pay raise. Shame work. I don't know what we're going to do when we get to 2026. We got to compete with that agreement. She was a single mom, is a single mom, and she said, "Lana, you need to know that I can finally breathe." Or Heather from Local 100, who was one of the leaders of the Autoport strike this year, who was proud to have her story told by her national president to a committee in Parliament, who faced down scabs during bitterly cold days, who stood up for herself and her coworkers and discovered that the union is actually her. This union is Jason, one of our energy leaders in Manitoba, who with Gavin and Dirk and the crew explained exactly what a government should be doing to stem methane gas leaks in this home province, and who understands how important it is that energy workers are leading that fight. Our union is Fred from our retirees group, who never fails to remind me how I can do this job better, and I thank him for it every single time. Because that is what we need to do for each other. Our union is Babs from the bargaining committee at the Residence Inn in Vancouver, Local 3000, who led a 3-week strike and told the employer every day to his face that a 10% wage increase in the first year was not enough and come back when he was ready to deliver what her membership deserved. That's our union. Our union is the sisters and brothers of FTG Aerospace, who stole a seasoned negotiator's heart with their determination and courage, and now Shane Work will be putting off barbecues at their workplace for years to come. Yep. Our union is not blinking when we shut down the St. Lawrence Seaway for the first time in 55 years. But fighting and using our political power even after the strike was over so that the CEO got his goddamn pink slip. Our union is Deb, a 71-year-old retail worker from No Frills who got elected to her bargaining committee and who knew she had the full support of her national and local union to get the deal that her members needed and deserved. She fought for pattern, she fought for full-time jobs, and she would not stop. She would not give up. No more nickel and diming. No more nickel and diming. This is our union, my friends. All of you are this union. We have power. We fight for truth. We fight for economic and gender justice, for Indigenous and racial justice. We build hope, and yes, we build trust. We build worker power. We're all fighting together here, because when we fight, we win. So let's go. Solidarity. Thank you very much.